Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Accelerating Campus Excellence ACE launch. I am Angie Lee, and I am just going to state the obvious. It is an exciting day here in Richardson ISD. It's an exciting day right here at Carolyn Bouquet Elementary. And it's an especially exciting day for all of the smiling faces who greeted us at the door. Excitement is all around us for the new beginnings we are embarking upon. Can you all feel it? Can you feel the excitement? I can. In fact, I might be the most excited person in this room today. Aside from our superintendent, of course, who has been smiling since this event was announced a few weeks back. My excitement stems from the realization that my new role as RISD's Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion folds perfectly within our ACE initiative. You see, ACE makes equity a focus for our students. It reflects and it embraces the diversity of our 39,000 students in RISD, and it ensures that all of them will be included. We have some special guests joining us today to help us celebrate and launch ACE, because they too know that Richardson ISD is moving forward in a direction that will break down barriers and tear down the hurdles facing some of our highest need students. Here on the stage with me are Justin Bono, RISD Board President. Mr. Bono is representing an ACE school board that is 100% supportive of all means all. We also have our fearless leader, the always smiling Dr. Jeannie Stone, RISD Superintendent. Mike Rawlings, Mayor for the City of Dallas. It's interesting to note here that over 60% of RISD lies within Mayor Rawlings' city limits, and 4 of our ACE campuses are in the Dallas city limits. We also have joining us today Mike Morath, Texas Education Commissioner. Commissioner Morath is invested in ACE, and he is very familiar with the RISD area, having served on the Dallas ISD School Board and growing up next door in Garland ISD. We also have Ashley Jones, a recently named STARS Award-winning teacher and RISD Elementary Teacher of the Year. Her passion for teaching and addressing an audience will no doubt shine through here in just a bit. And last, but certainly not least, one of the 39,000 reasons we do what we do every day, Angela's Mojica, a wonderful Carolyn Bouquet Elementary student, will share with us a special message as we leave today. Now, I am going to turn over the program to Justin Bono, our board president. Mr. Bono.
Thank you, Angie. What a tough act to follow she might be, huh? Well, thank you all for being here today. What a great way to come back from spring break, huh? This is a milestone day for Richardson ISD. While I am here making comments as president of the Board of Trustees, my being here to celebrate the launch of our ACE campuses would not be possible without my colleagues on the board. So please join me in recognizing each of them that are here today. First, our Vice President of our board, Dr. Kristen Kewen. Secretary Katie Patterson. Treasurer Kim Caston. Trustee Jean Bono. And Trustee Karen Collardi. Also on our board and a big supporter of this program, Aaron Lynn, but he couldn't be with us today. Please join me in giving him a hand as well. Thank you, and thanks to each of you board members for the work you do to help make us a highly effective team. Today, we are here to celebrate the launch of the Accelerating Campus Excellence Program, the ACE program, for 4 of our elementary campuses: Forest Lane Academy, RISD Academy, Thurgood Marshall Elementary, and the campus hosting us today, Carolyn Bouquet Elementary. You know, it's only fitting that we find ourselves here at Carolyn Bouquet this morning. Mrs. Caston reminded us at our last board meeting that it was Dr. Bouquet herself, as superintendent some 20 or so years ago, that challenged the entire district to see all of the students in this district and respond to the individual needs of all of our students. From that challenge, the mantra, all means all, was born, and every leader in this district since has used that language as our North Star in this district. Dr. Bouquet, could you stand and be recognized? We thank you for your leadership and for your continued support of our school district and for continuing to recognize all of our students. All means all, therefore, has long been the aspiration for this district. However, in a district as large and diverse as Richardson ISD, the challenge becomes how to execute daily on each and every campus so that the aspiration of all means all becomes a reality. There have been 2 decades of leaders and staff that have worked tirelessly to close the achievement gap for our most disadvantaged students. Superintendents and boards have tried countless programs over that time to close the gap for our kids, yet the gap persists to this day without substantial movement. I want to stress that this gap doesn't exist from lack of effort on behalf of our leadership and our staff over this time period. Rather, I would submit to you that we have remained in this place due to a lack of resources. So fast forward to 2017. Our current superintendent, Dr. Jeannie Stone, started this school year with a convocation of all of our staff and took the aspiration of all means all to a higher place in RISD. She stood on a stage and boldly stated that all means all can't really address all students without addressing the equity disparities between students on our campuses. She made a commitment to address these equity disparities as part of her work this year. It would be easy, though, for that statement of equity for all to become just an aspiration as well. However, right up front, Dr. Stone stated that achievement of equity for all would be more than an aspiration. It would be a commitment from her and her senior leadership team, and we could take a commitment from the rest of the RISD staff. As a board, we applaud Dr. Stone's courage and her commitment to equity and share her vision for our students. However, without action from the board, equity for all could easily slip back into only an aspiration as well. I couldn't be prouder of this board, though, that they had the courage to support Dr. Stone in these efforts. This has manifested itself thus far in 2 big ways. First, we supported the creation of a new position for Director of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. You met Angie Lee already this morning. Today, our students have a staff member focused every day on this commitment of equity for all. And two, we supported earlier this month the launch of the ACE program, which we are here to celebrate today. These two items took two very important things from this board: a commitment, rather than an aspiration, to equity for all, and the resource allocation to back it up. This board launches ACE today as a proven educational model with success in our neighboring school district, DISD. So when we agree to commit these resources for this program, we know of the existing positive track record that ACE has produced to date. We launch ACE today with the gratitude for a superintendent that had the courage to make a commitment to equity and continues to follow that commitment with actions. Most importantly, though, we launch ACE today with the confidence that it will close the achievement gap for thousands of our students in our district and literally change the trajectory of their lives. So, as we launch ACE in our ISD, today is the day where all means all, so boldly put forth by Dr. Bucaire, takes on new meaning. By dedicating the resources necessary to serve these students, all means all moves from an aspiration to a commitment. And soon, this commitment will translate into life-changing results for our students. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, today is the day we commit as a school district that all cannot mean all if our resource allocation suggests that one size fits all. Today, we give over 2,000 current students all of the resources they need to succeed. Please join me in celebrating the launch of our ACE program in our ISD. Thank you, and thank you for your time. We are honored, as Angie Lee noted earlier, to have several significant community and state leaders with us today to support our efforts and celebrate the launch of ACE. I am proud to be able to introduce the first of those to speak to us today. Please join me in welcoming from the city of Dallas, my mayor, Mayor Mike Rawlings.
Thank you, Justin. I am both proud and humbled to be the mayor of Dallas because so many great things happen in it. And it is one of the great parts of being in Dallas to be part of the education initiatives to help our children and help our communities. Yes, a big part of Dallas is made up with Dallas ISD, but it is the relationship with our ISD that has brought me so much joy over the years because of your leadership, your innovation, your focus on the things that really matter and setting an example for the state. It has been, whenever I get off track, my Councilman Adam McGew, who's standing over here, just reminds me, he kind of a hit on the top of the head, that RISD is doing this. RISD's got it under control. RISD is making changes. And he has echoed that with Lee Kleiman, who's in this district, and Sandy Grace in North Dallas. So we believe our relationship with RISD is very, very important. And we're even more excited for these students and the families of these 4 ACE schools in the city of Dallas. Initiatives such as this and take a real commitment to this word equity that's thrown around a lot lately. But equity means money, it means effort, it means a focus. And with this innovative leadership from the Board of Trustees and your superintendent, you are walking the talk. You're putting your money where your mouth is. ACE campuses in Dallas ISD have been successful. We're proud of what's happening at Dallas ISD as well. Our outcomes jumped 40 percentage points in just 2 years. This type of growth cannot be ignored. It's the proof that this strategy is working and that you're on the right track. See, Dallas is going to be great and Richardson is going to be great. I really believe that in the short term. The real existential question we all have, is it going to be okay for the long term? And the answer to that sits in these rooms. It sits in these schools. It sits with teachers. It sits with administrators. It sits with Board of Trustees. Do they have the right programs in place to make sure that everyone is brought along in this wonderful parade of success that we have in the Dallas area? And it takes a strategy like all means all to make that a reality. By intentionally focusing on, in both resources and educator effectiveness to students in significant need, you are making my job easier. You're making the future mayor's jobs easier, because these are going to be successful students here. I'll tell you, education is important in Dallas, and it's important in Richardson, but we must be transformative, we must be innovative. I continue to be amazed that we can invent things like this in America, but we go through our education process like we're back in 18th century Prussia, okay? I mean, we do it kind of old school, and there are a lot of old school things that need to be done, but then there's innovative strategies and programs that are in place, and if we really believe in equity, we'll embrace those, and you guys do, and that's what we're seeing today. Thank you, Dr. Stone, for providing that leadership in North Texas and hopefully throughout the whole state. Finally, I want to point out a poetic moment of justice. This elementary school is located on a road that recently had its name changed. It used to be Mayhem. Now, I don't think anybody purposely named the school Mayhem. Maybe a family, I don't know. But that was an old-time name, but it was a bit of a joke. We all knew that. We had some crime issues. We've got some underprivileged kids, and we had a situation. Students and my fellow Dallas City Council colleagues recently changed this name to Esperanza Road. As St. Paul says, there's faith, hope, and love. Those three things will abide. I always believe Esperanza is the least appreciated of those three, that you've got to have hope into the future. You've got to see your life in a better place. And so I was very proud to vote for the Spanish hope in this school. And today, you give me great hope for the future of the city of Dallas, the city of Richardson, and all of North Texas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Rawlings. Oh, what a blessing it is to have the mayor of Dallas to be here to celebrate with us today, as well as all of you. I did see Adam Magoo come in, our councilman. Mayor Pro Tem is here, Mark Solomon. If you'll please be acknowledged as well from the city of Richardson. And are there any other elected officials who have come in? We want to acknowledge you. Thank you all for being here. And all of you. Wow, what a special day this is. Mr. Bono did say that we started talking about this at convocation, didn't we? That was a special day when I did stand in front of 5,000 employees and talk about equity. And we talked about some things for the very first time. And I would be remiss in front of my staff if I did not mention the flywheel. We talk about the flywheel all the time. And at convocation, there was a large flywheel on the stage, and I went back last week and I rewatched the tape from convocation about what I said that day, and this is what I said. I said how hard it is sometimes to start the flywheel. It comes from Jim Collins. He makes the reference in his book, Good to Great, about starting the flywheel. I said, but sometimes it's harder to start the flywheel at some of our schools. And we talked about how we were going to see those schools, not just blend them in. We were going to actually see them and see the students that go there. And all year long, we've talked about getting the flywheel moving. Well, today, guys, the flywheel is going to really start to turn. I use this with the staff all the time. And I talk about at the base or the foundation of the flywheel, it starts with great people. And do you know, we have the best people in Richardson ISD, the best teachers, the best leaders, the best school board who unifies with me in this whole idea, this great idea of what we're going to do at these 4 schools. It starts with great people, and all of you are a part of it. Our students, the most beautiful, wonderful students and parents and a community are all a part of that people that's at the base of the flywheel. Nothing can happen if you don't have that. But you have to have more than great people. You have to have belief. And so at Convocation, that's where that belief really started, in this idea of all means all in a kind of a new and meaningful way. And all of the people unified around this belief that all means all. And we would see these schools and these children for the needs that they have and the resources that we need to invest in them. But you know what? Great people and great belief do not get the flywheel moving. You have to move from belief to action. And that's what we're doing today. All of the belief that we've been talking about all year long, all of our leaders unified around this, led by our school board, we move that belief to action by launching ACE at 4 of our schools, Accelerating Campus Excellence. That action is tremendous, and it's going to move the needle for thousands of students. It's going to provide great things like uniforms and dinner for them and extra tutoring, an extended day. And we're going to do something that we've never done before, and we're going to use strategic staffing, and we're going to have extra incentive compensation for the teachers that work at our ACE campuses. And that is a bold initiative. That is a bold initiative to do something like that. But we know if we're really going to focus on equity and make up that difference at these 4 campuses, we have to do that and put those things into action. And if you look at the flywheel, what happens, this is the coolest part. Action then moves to results. Results for kids. And they're not always just measured by STAR scores and test results. In kindergarten and 1st and 2nd grade, where we don't even give the STAR test, we're talking about early literacy. We're talking about having results for kids that are going to actually move the needle for them and get them ready to be reading at grade level by the 3rd grade, which is our ultimate goal. Those results are going to be tremendous. They're going to have make a big impact. That will make a big difference for them in terms of college readiness. And if you look at the flywheel, here's the coolest thing too, okay? The results that inform the people, which then increases the belief, which leads to greater action, which leads to greater results. Can't you see that flywheel start to turn? That flywheel will turn for our 4 campuses where we're implementing the ACE model. We're so grateful to Dallas ISD that they had the bold initiative. They put this bold initiative in place years ago, and we were intentional about keeping the name ACE because we wanted to give credit to the work that was started in Dallas ISD. Fort Worth has done that, so we were intentional about wanting to keep that strong brand that's going to make a difference for thousands of students. So when you talk about that, people, all of you are a part of that. Mayor Rawlings being here as a part and support. How great is it that we have the mayor here in support of this initiative? There's one person, though, who has really not been introduced yet, and I get the honor to do so, our Commissioner of Education. You know, a couple of months ago, when we were starting to really formulate the idea we were going to make this happen, I contacted Commissioner Morath and just talked to him about the fact that we were going to do that, and he was immediately invested and excited in the conversation. And over the course of the next couple of months, I've kind of kept him informed. But a couple of weeks ago, I decided to give him a phone call on a Friday to let him know it had been placed on the board agenda, and we were really going to make this happen. I left a message in his office, and on a Friday night, when I'm sure he was done with his very busy day, he called me back, and we had a long conversation about it. He asked all kinds of great questions. Well, who will the principals be? How will you identify the teachers? He was so invested in it, and I said, do you know what would make this the greatest thing ever? Is if you could come and join with us on the stage, with the mayor, with our staff, with our students, with our community, to come and launch this with us. And he so graciously said yes, and I am so grateful. And will you please help me welcome our commissioner from the state of Texas, Commissioner Mike Morath.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you, most importantly, for your leadership. You and the board are taking a bold step that needs to be taken, that we know works, that we know delivers results. We are blessed, I am blessed, to live in a country that has founding documents that speak to the highest of our ideals, that all men are created equal, that we are entitled to certain rights of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. In many ways, our schools, our public school system, is the foundational guarantor of those rights. What does it mean to have a country where we all have liberty to pursue the things that we want to pursue, lives of meaning and purpose, when we wouldn't be educated, we wouldn't be equipped for those pursuits? What would that mean? What kind of country would we have? We don't, however, have a country that idly makes these statements. Instead, we invest significantly in our children. We have a system of public education in Texas and around the country that ensures, that is designed for the purpose of equipping all of our kids with foundations in reading and math and in the raw material that you need to have in order to pursue the American dream. Because the American dream is not for the faint at heart. You know, this is a country that demands that you work, demands sacrifice, demands effort. But you have to be equipped for that. You have to be equipped for that struggle. And when you are blessed to come into our school system and go through 13, 14, 15 years of K-12 education, and you come out of high-performing schools that have equipped you for the struggles of life, then, you know, America is yours for the taking. But if you're not, if you are born into a neighborhood that does not provide you with access to a high-performing education, then in many ways, life in this country is made far more difficult for you. We, I think, can judge civilizations on how we invest in our young people. Do we give our youngest students our best and brightest adults? Do we organize our systems of equipping our children with challenge but with knowledge and skills? Do we organize those systems so that we invest in them with the absolute best and brightest among us? In many ways, our system of public education in Texas and in this country answers that question for many kids with a resounding yes. But for far too many, that answer has not been met with a resounding yes. I think it was 1984, a fairly famous report was published out of various Washington think tanks. Reagan was in office and was looking at what was happening in America's schools. And a report comes out, and the report's called A Nation at Risk. Mayor Rawlings hinted at this. You look at the dynamism of Dallas, of Richardson, of our North Texas economy, and you don't have to be worried about next week. But next year, in fact, next 20 years, that dynamism is guaranteed by how well we're supporting our kids in our school system. You know, I don't really worry about who wins in the next 4 years, but I do worry about whether we have elections in the next 40. Our public school system is built to ensure that this experiment that we embarked upon some 200 years ago in this country can continue, that we can continue to be a nation governed by our own populace. When A Nation at Risk came out 30 years ago, it identified pockets of this country, schools in this country, where the kind of educational opportunity that we knew our kids needed to have, it wasn't consistently delivered. And there's a whole host of reasons for this. But think about how difficult the job of making school work is when your kindergartners, when they're coming in at 5 and 6 years of age, might be coming in without any real exposure to numeracy, to literacy. They don't know their numbers, they don't know their letters. The dinner table conversations, instead of having a wide-ranging conversation about issues that are affecting the day and having travel experiences all across this grand country, instead dinner is rushed because folks got to keep the roof over their head. And maybe mom and dad are out working right then and there. And so the vocabulary that kids are exposed to in those first 5 years is less than what we would want, less than what my little girl, my little boy here, when my wife, who is a doctor, and I come home and have dinner, family dinner. When if you happen to choose the Huxtables as your parents, you're probably all right. But for many households, that's just not what the situation looks like. And when our kids come into school from that background, there are challenges. And you think about what we have to do educationally. I've got to give them as close to perfection as we can for that teacher that they have in kindergarten. And then we have to do it again for first grade. And then we have to do it again for second grade. And then we have to do it again for third grade. And then we have to do it again for fourth grade. A system that is predicated on a requirement for perfection is not a system that is going to deliver good results for all. And so we have to organize our resources. We have to be thoughtful about it. We have to give our kids our best. That is fundamentally what ACE is about. It says, how can we organize our school system so that we put our best and brightest teachers where they are most needed? How can we organize our school system so that we have the additional resources delivered through the school system to help support stronger families, help support a stronger focus on the foundation of reading and math in the early grades in the early years? That's what ACE is about. And we know it works. We know when this happens. We know when we make this kind of commitment to our kids that our kids flourish. Why do we know that? We know it for a variety of reasons. One, we've seen it work. But two, many of us approach this work with a belief system, like you've heard about today, that all means all. That every child can learn and can learn at high levels, can achieve at high levels. But not everybody actually believes that. A lot of people will say, yes, I think that every child can learn. Certainly the kid of that doctor over there, that child can learn. But I don't know, this kid's in a foster home. This kid has a lot of struggles at home. I don't know if that child can achieve at a high levels. I don't know. There's been a significant disruption in our community this year. I don't know that our kids will be able to learn this year. I don't know that the father just got laid off, has been on unemployment for the last 6 months, been searching for a job, very frustrated. I don't know, parents just got divorced. I don't know, in this case, that the child will be able to achieve at high levels. This is a corrosive thought process that infects our thinking. When Superintendent Stone mentioned the sort of flywheel, that beliefs are part of this equation, beliefs do matter. I spoke to a teacher once who was a teacher for a classroom, and she had several of her kids that were, these kids were not dealt the best hand in life. 2 of them have been living on the street, like literally on the street, They were falling asleep in class all the time, actively homeless. A couple of kids were foster kids, and I was listening to terrible stories about the parents, what the parents were saying to each other and in front of the children. And I asked the teacher once, like, what do you do in that circumstance? Like, what do you think about for your children, for your students? And the teacher said, I try not to think about that. Because the moment I begin to recognize that they're having these struggles at home is the moment I begin to excuse them not turning in their homework. It's the moment I begin to say, well, it's okay, go ahead and sleep during class. You don't need to learn this right now. It's the moment I begin to lower my expectations for those students. What Richardson is doing is boldly pronouncing, we have high expectations for all of our kids, all of them, regardless of where they are, regardless of what they look like, regardless of whether they were vaccinated and immunized that morning and went to the doctor's visit that afternoon, whether they were fed continuously, regardless of the circumstance, every one of our children, every one of my children will learn. And they are ensuring that they have put the best and brightest of their workforce. Teachers who live this and believe this and breathe this. And it is not easy to live this and breathe this. But putting those teachers in schools where they're needed and putting them where they've got colleagues so they're not alone, gazelle surrounded by lions. No, it's an army of servant leaders working to support our kids. I am so proud that what we identified as a country 30 years ago, you are taking bold steps to address now systemically, and I know it will work. I've seen it. I have a tremendous sense of esperanza where we are today, and I'm proud to be in this room with you. I'm proud to see your leadership, both superintendent and the board. I'm proud to be in the room with so many servant leaders. I see skilled, dedicated principals and teachers in this room today. Our kids are lucky to have you. I am honored to have even the slightest role in trying to serve and support you.
Good morning, everyone. Oh, good morning. There we go. Okay. My name is Ashley Jones, and it's quite an honor to be here, taking part in this announcement that defines why I became a teacher. 2 weeks ago, I was among 10 amazing teachers awarded for the top classroom honor given by Richardson ISD, also known as the Superior Teaching Achievement in RISD Schools Award, or STARS. It was made even sweeter when I just learned I was named RISD's Elementary Teacher of the Year. While these two personal accomplishments are huge sources of pride for me as a teacher in Texas public schools, they are not mine alone to claim. I share them with the hundreds of students who have been a part of my life during the past decade spent in the classroom. Students who maybe needed an extra hug or 12 throughout the day. Students who needed multiple ways to acquire the information rather than the standard delivery methods. Students who just needed someone to understand the human component of our smallest learners and that going by the book had a lot of exceptions, showing that their hearts and basic emotional needs were the most important in the development of a learner. I have seen many hurdles every day that a lot of us here have not experienced. Challenges are a part of life, and many of our students in RISD face them as well. And their trials go far beyond the classroom, and through the ACE model, we can now dive deeper into understanding more of their needs. We can raise their platforms and guide them to an equal footing that all children should have. While I'm at Hamilton Park and do not currently work at a campus that will fold into the ACE model next year, the kids I get to work with are similar in need. For most of them, this is the type of approach that would establish a starting point in line with their peers throughout RISD. It will pour resources into equity. It will shape their futures like never before. And I am hopeful that the upcoming school year is just step one in us sharing ACE with all of those who can benefit. I love my kids, and I love our kids. I love them for who they are. I love them for how hard they work, and I love them for who they will become. I love the opportunities that will now be a part of each of their lives and every day because of ACE. And I love that all teachers in RISD will have the chance to become a part of this new energy and connect even more to the smiling, beautiful faces that walk through our doors and let us into their lives. Thank you to our superintendent, Dr. Stone, for making this a Richardson ISD reality. The sky's our limit, and our kids, all of them, can now soar even higher than before. I appreciate all of you being here, and have a great day.
And now we're going to hear from the most important voice of the day, representing our entire 39,000 students. Please give a welcome to, no pressure, Carolyn Bouquet Elementary student, Angeles Mojica.
I shine as the hope of tomorrow, a bright ray of light in the dark. I shine with a brilliance of beauty, a candle, a rocket, a spark. My future I see in the distance. I stand up and give you this speech because I believe in my future and see all my dreams within reach. I look out across to your faces and ask for not much in return. To all of my teachers and mentors, I simply ask, help me to learn. Look and see past my attendance. Look and see past my address. Look and see past my behavior. There's much more that I can express. I can express my loving heart. I can express how hard I try. I can express how much I love my teacher. I can express how much I love my mama y papa. I can express how much I want to go to college. I can express how much I hope. I shine as the hope of tomorrow, a bright ray of light in the dark. I shine with a brilliance of beauty, a candle, a rocket, a spark. I shine with esperanza, a brightness I hope you can see. I shine with esperanza, and I hope you can really see me. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask if our other Carolyn Bouquet ambassadors will go ahead and come on up because we want to have a look at you too. And Angeles, if you'll stand here with me. I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for believing and unifying around this whole great idea that's going to make such a difference at Forest Lane Academy, Carolyn Bouquet Elementary, Thurgood Marshall, and RISD Academy, our 4 A schools that we launched today. Esperanza. Let's let these kids hear from you, all of them, see all of these kids. And let's let all of them hear from you if you see Esperanza and hope for their future. So to conclude our program, anyone who would like to have a tour of their school, all of these wonderful students are ready to give you a tour. So just come up to the front and they'll be happy to take you and show you around. I did want to close with just a special thanks to all of our stage guests, in particular to Mayor Rawlings and Commissioner Mike Morath. They have such busy schedules. And there are thousands of school districts, and they are in Richardson ISD today. to our communications department for all of the work that they did to help plan this event, and to the principal at Carolyn Bouquet, Lynette Massey-Stinnett is here. Let's thank her for her work. All of our staff members, and one in particular that I've saved for last, is our Deputy Superintendent Tabitha Branham, who has been working alongside with me on this initiative for months, and I want to recognize her work. And to all of you who are so important to the Richardson ISD community, to our school board, who unify with us in this belief that all means all. Today is truly a special day, and I thank you all for being a part. Please enjoy the rest of your day.